Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Amir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts Amrita and Sujoy. Hey Amrita, hey Sujoy.
hello Khandaan.
Hello.
Let's start the show with a shout out, a Patreon shout out. Amrita, you've got one for us, right?
Yes, I have a letter here from Anne. She says she started listening to Khandaan in early 2019. I'd moved to Vancouver, BC from the US for work, and literally everyone I knew was either in the US or back in India. So I took Khandaan with me for my long walks along the seawall and basically across Vancouver City. Khandaan, in that sense, has gotten a private tour of all my favorite places in Vancouver.
Oh,
I also spent the entirety of the lockdown with you guys. Ah. She says, I'm listening all the time while cooking, cleaning, getting ready, walking, maybe while working, all the time, which is why there's never enough new episodes. I love having conversations with you all inside my head, agreeing, disagreeing, and sometimes badly wanting you to talk about a particular topic and hoping you'll read my mind. We asked her why she would suggest people sign up to Patreon, and she said, you put in a lot of effort, and this is a small way to give back and show that you're appreciated. Thank you so much, Anne. We asked her if she had any advice for us, and she says, nothing in particular comes to mind, but can we start doing reviews of movies where Khans have had guest appearances as well? For example, Hey Baby and Ye Dil Hai Mushkil with SRK. I think
I was actually really I don't know what it was. I think maybe there was an anniversary or something, or somebody suggested that we should do Delhi Belly. And I was like, man, I really want to rewatch Delhi Belly. It's been ages.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was the start of You Podcast back in the day. So it has some connection for me. But I was like, yeah, it's actually a good idea to maybe go back and watch a few of those movies too,
I remember watching Delhi Belly in a Hindi dub. I don't think I've seen the actual English one.
Really?
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
it'd be nice to watch it in English.
I think eventually we will.
Yeah.
We'll just we've just covered so many of the Khan movies already that eventually we will have to start talking about the guest appearances.
Although a lot of people have also been, asking us to go back and do more Khan movies, that they're kind of I think it's just because we also cover new releases. And the new releases are quite boring. They're not great movies.
Yeah.
And people do connect with, especially they want us to go back and watch the older movies that they kind of grew up and that nostalgic factor. So we're definitely hearing you. And I do think we should maybe go back and watch a few of those. But
And honestly, there are some of the movies that we did early on
yeah,
that I would like to revisit.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other project that is a secret project that we're working on.
Yeah.
You guys should keep an eye out for the grand launch of our new website, which is coming up.
Yeah.
You'll find out more about that. She also asked, can members join for some of the reviews? Members get a chance to review a movie with you all. Of course, might be more editing work for you three, but might be fun. And I don't know how you could possibly have more episodes, but more episodes. Thank you for all the great work you do and for the wonderful community you've created. Thanks so much, Anne. That is actually a great idea that we might, I don't know,
Brainstorm.
do like a special, yeah, we might do it as like a special one-off or something.
I think it's something I've been thinking about. I've heard this suggestion a few times. And it's also when we get a suggestion of, can you have this writer on? I think a lot of it is that podcasting is a skill set that you acquire by doing it, and not because everybody can talk or be a good writer or be words that they're going to be good on a podcast for everybody to listen to.
Mhm.
But what it's saying is that, we want to engage with you in a closer manner. And I think that is something that I've heard, and I need to figure out how to do that necessarily. What I'm very much open to, send us an audio of what your thoughts are about a review or a movie or something we said. And we're very happy to play that on the show and then talk about it. So that's definitely a possibility. And if you want to do that, send us one on youpodcasting@gmail.com. Keep it under 3 minutes though. I just got a 10-minute audio file from a friend of ours, which I haven't had time to listen to yet. But that is something that we can definitely do. We'll figure something out. And if it happens, it's probably going to happen on Patreon. So sign up to Patreon to get closer access to us. Guys, do you remember the lockdown episodes? Like, I've been thinking about them recently. Man, we went through some shit, yo. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad it brought some, joy to Anne and other people. But
I think everybody was in the same boat. It's just that we three had each other to lean on as we were trying to get through it. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy that we went through all of that. Like, it's insane. I think about it and I'm like, wow, okay. Okay, what are we doing this episode? We're going to be talking about some of the movies we watched, some of the trailers that came out, and a few of your messages that we want to read. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody that gives a message on Patreon that supports our work. It's really the only way that you can support us, unless you are, sharing our reels or writing us a review or, getting your friends to listen to us. So we really appreciate all of our Patreons, and thank you, Anne, for being a patron. Let's talk about maybe the two trailers that came out. The first one I want to talk about, because we just came off a Fighter. I want to talk about Bade Miyaan, Chote Miyaan little bit.
दिल से सोल्जर, दिमाग से शैतान है हम. बच के रहना हमसे, हिंदुस्तान है हम.
It's a teaser. It's not a trailer. But what did you guys just watch it, right? I had a notification on because I wanted to watch it. But yes, you guys, what do you think?
I was not expecting the Malayalam in the beginning. I was like, did Asan send me the Malayalam version? Like, is this movie going to be dubbed in Malayalam?
Oh, is that Malayalam or is it Sanskrit?
No, it's Malayalam.
Okay.
Although, all the oldies, all the old Malayalis are just like, well, you see, Malayalam is 80% Sanskrit. And I'm just like, yeah, sure. But I think that's Prithviraj, right?
Yeah,
who's the bad guy? Yeah.
And interestingly, because we've been talking about Islamophobia and stuff, right? Interestingly, Prithviraj's name is Kabir, which is like a religion agnostic name. So I don't think there will be Kajal and Kol and Janab in this movie. And it sort of feels like he's playing some sort of a sci-fi futuristic supervillain where he's got cyborg armies and his it feels super interesting, especially because Ali Abbas Zafar is the director, who I still have some faith in.
Although, let's not forget, Ali Abbas Zafar is also basically out on bail, I think, because of Tandav. And that is, Tandav is the series that completely changed the OTT game in India, by the way. For those of you who don't know the backstory, Tandav was the series that starred Saif Ali Khan as a politician from like a political family in Uttar Pradesh. And when it came out, it seemed to be okay for a while. And then somehow things just went really south. There were police cases filed. The government was trying to arrest the CEO of like Prime Video in India. They're also the reason why, the threat of replicating everything that happened with Tandav is also why Netflix will now censor all Indian content according to Indian censorship laws, even outside of India.
Yeah.
So all of
And
that
it never got a
stems
season
from
2.
Tandav.
It never got a
No.
season
No.
2, never got a renewal. And the thing is, it wasn't even that great of a show.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great of a show. And they made such a hullabaloo about it for no apparent reason. And, but I mean, you're saying, you have some faith. I have full faith in Ali Abbas Zafar.
Mhm.
Even with all of that that's going on, I just think he's, from that first shot of that missile that hits the truck, I know I'm in, I'm in. The visuals are so
Yeah.
much better than what Siddhanand has done. And I don't even, I feel like the praise that Siddhanand gets should be given to Ali Abbas Zafar. Whatever people say about good action movie, making people look good and stuff like that, Ali Abbas did that much better, and he did it before him. And he's made legit good movies, Sultan is one of the best movies Salman Khan has ever done. Tiger Zinda is, I think it's the best movie from the Tiger franchise. And Bharat has, my reappreciation because we've been through a lot. And there were a lot of things that I didn't like about Bharat, but there was also a lot of things that were handled very sensitively in Bharat that any other filmmaker would have made up much, much worse. And I think
Bloody Daddy pe bhi kuch kaho.
No, so Bloody Daddy I didn't like. I think that was one of those streamer movies, right?
Yeah.
But Jogi also came out, and I heard a lot of good things about Jogi, which I've not seen.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were saying that it's a really strong and good movie. So, yeah, and obviously Mere Brother Ki Dulhan is amazing. We can all agree on that, right?
And
So
Gunde gave us Tune Mari entry, so
Yeah.
all sins are forgiven.
yeah, so that's a pretty good track record, to be honest, in a current time filmmaker. And I also just like his way of making nationalistic movies. That one doesn't bother me. It's fine. So I unless Akshay does his Akshay things in the next, but I feel Akshay is even in a mode where he needs to start listening to people and not do his own thing, because whatever he's doing on his own is not working, So if he can get molded into a different way, I think the action looks really, really good, and the scale looks really, really good.
Yeah, it looks like a very expensive movie, but I have one problem, is that because of the history of movies that Akshay has been doing with Suryavanshi and even with Samrat Prithviraj, the mustache that he's wearing is just takes the illusion away of him being a modern day hero. It just feels like he's cosplaying this. It just Tiger is in a war kind of a current times movie, and Akshay will be wearing a dhoti and running next to him. It feels like that. I think all of those faults, I need to blame Akshay for the choice of movies he's done for the last few years. And I just hope that, Ali Abbas Zafar pulls off that illusion that Akshay is back in his modern day action hero role. And I think this is not a remake. They've just borrowed that name from the original. I don't think there will be a double role.
There's a song you can hear on the background.
Yeah.
But Amrita was also kind of predicting that when we were doing the preview episode.
I just wonder if there will be a Kisi Disco Mein Jaye with in here as well. So, or a
Wasn't
Makhna.
Makhna on it?
Yeah, Makhna was also, So Madhuri cameo maybe? I don't know.
No, who's the equivalent of Madhuri? Nora Fateh? The cameo maybe? I don't know what
So this movie is really not meant for me. I have this is not my jam whatsoever. And I don't know, I'll still go watch it, I guess, but I am not in the least bit looking forward to it whatsoever.
It's hilarious though. In the Wikipedia, it says it's been filmed across locations: Mumbai, Scotland, London, Abu Dhabi, Jordan, and then they mention Luton as well. Luton as a location.
But what do you think of Ali Abbas Zafar as a filmmaker, Amrita, when we just go over that filmography of films? I know I hold him in a very high regard, but I don't know if you do too.
I think slightly less than you. I don't think he's bad. I think he's very competent, and when he fires on all cylinders, I think he does a really good job. Like I agree with you with like, the second Tiger Zinda Hai being like the best out of that franchise so far. Like I
Yeah.
agree. But I think I don't know what has changed in the last few years. I think maybe he was just trying to also run a production house, maybe.
Yeah.
And so like his focus shifted a little bit and got a little bit diluted or something. And there are some people who can do everything and be good at it. And then there are some people who really need to focus on like one thing. And I
Yeah.
feel like Ali Abbas Zafar might be one of those people. He needs like a second in command who can take the load off his shoulders so that he doesn't have to like, sweat the small stuff. And I don't think he has that person.
Yeah.
And I base that off like you said, like Tanda was not a good series. Like everything about it, like it's a good concept, but like it doesn't seem to really deliver. And I think that basically describes his most recent filmography.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I haven't seen Jogi, so I don't know about Jogi, but I'm like talking about like the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, like is it Bharat or is it Bharat?
Yeah, it's Bharat.
Bharat, like in India? Oh, okay. So Bharat and Bloody Daddy and Tandav and all of that is very mid to me. And the thing with having the eye or like having that talent is that you can lose it just as easily as like having it. Like it's because it's not like a muscle that you can work out. It's not like a math equation that, if you do this and if you do this, then the outcome will always be that. That's not how it works. Like talent just works in its own ways. And I don't know if this is going to be better or not. The fact that it has Akshay Kumar and Tiger Shroff in it makes me think, how good can it be?
Yeah.
But then I know you are Akshay's number one fan, so obviously you're looking forward to it.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think Ali Abbas Zafar will do something different. So instead of Tiger Shroff flipping to the right, he'll flip from the left, maybe, so ulti kalabazi bhi khayega.
But I mean, considering that he was able to make Salman do a whole bunch of stuff in Sultan, maybe he will be able to extract that performance out of Tiger that everyone keeps saying that, Tiger has in him. So let's see.
I feel bad, like everybody also always praises Salman, but Anushka was so good in that movie. Like people kind of forget, like that was a role that like nobody was taking on, and like Kangana was gonna take it, and like it was the thing, and Anushka really, really elevated that role. It was so good.
Who's in this film?
Manushi Chiller.
Sonakshi Sinha. Who I really, really like. And I hope something good happens to her,
Sonakshi was excellent in The Hard.
True.
And also, like Sonakshi, let's not forget, when Sonakshi made her debut, everybody was in love with her.
Yeah.
Everybody thought she was like fantastic.
Yes.
And then she decided to take career advice from Salman for some reason. And that's where everything went wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. Also, she was really good with Shahid in Sari Ka Falsa, like that song. That song is a banger still, man. It's so good. Like, it's hard to pull off Prabhudeva choreography, right?
Yeah.
And she manages to do that. That's not an easy task, Katrina didn't manage, so just saying. Okay. Next trailer that came out is, I will never be able to pronounce this title really well. Teri Aankhon Mein Ujla Sa, is that it?
Ujla to nahi. Teri Aankhon Mein Uljha Jiya.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
सारी लैंग्वेजेस बोल लेती हो, हर तरह खाना बना लेती हो, पहली बार सिगरेट पीती हो और खांसती भी नहीं हो। तुम लड़की हो या अलादीन का चिराग?
अलादीन का चिराग। मैं भी उसकी तरह सबकी विश पूरी करती हूँ और मुझे किसना भी नहीं पड़ता।
तुम मजाक कर रही हो या लाइन मार रही हो?
लाइन मार रही हूँ।
तेरी आंखों में ऐसा उलझा जिया. It's a line from a song. I think it was called Angel Eyes. if you remember.
But Angel Eyes?
Yeah. Angel Eyes by who's
Raghav.
Raghav.
Oh, I thought you're Pakistani singer that song Angel. Oh, it's Eye to Eye.
Eye to eye. No. Yeah, the song has a lyric called like Teri aankhon mein aisa uljha jiya.
Can I just say this is a terrible title? Just
for sure.
like from a starting point of view, this is a bad title.
Objectively
not.
bad. Yeah. And like I hadn't seen this trailer, and this trailer dropped just before my fighter screening, and it's like one of those tweets, the quote tweet goes, "You will never expect where this is going." And I'm like, what the hell is the trailer? Amrita, go for it.
Can I read the plot summary? It says, Aryan is not able to find the perfect life partner. He meets a perfect girl, Sifra, during an official assignment in the US, falls in love with her, only to discover later that it's an impossible love story. I mean, the trailer reveals and spoils that, Kriti is playing a robot or an android or whatever you want to call it. But Amrita, what did you think of the trailer?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm very happy to see Shahid dance again.
Yeah.
Like, that's always fun, of course. He on the downside, he's dancing with Kriti, which I'm just like, maybe not.
Why not? Is Kriti not a good dancer, or is it that they don't look well together?
I don't think she is. She does that 2010 Bollywood heroine dancing, which is just so inferior in every single way to everything that happened before. It's just very sad. But I think I can see why Kriti signed on to this film, like especially after doing Mimi and everything, because there is a very strong conversation to be had about the rise of like sex toys and what do you even call them, like like robot girlfriends and the girlfriend experience and like all that kind of stuff, which is not really present in India right now, but like I can see how that is
maybe it should.
So it's definitely coming down the road, and it's probably just around the corner, to be very honest. These are the conversations that we should be having, but like, is a Shahid Kriti film the one to have this conversation? I don't really think so. So it's just,
I mean, the movie looks like a total male fantasy, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Basically a robot woman that you can do what you want with, and the only thing she needs is a battery recharge, right? So, that could be an interesting thought about, autonomy and decision making for women in society. But this is a Shahid Kapoor movie. I don't think those are the conversations that this movie will be happening. But Sujoy, what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like, you hear of all these Japanese men who haven't had a single human relationship in many, many years and it's also reminding me of Lars and the Real Girl for some reason.
And her, like that Joaquin Phoenix movie.
But I don't think it will try to, because the vibe of this movie doesn't feel like, it very much feels like the world of Tu Jhuti Mein Makkar. And then, with all the family people around and Shahid's dancing, but also they have tried to convey this message of, oh, this man is lonely and he's trying to find a girlfriend. He's not able to find love. And
like, that is not a story that really works in an Indian context, though, because we have arranged marriage.
Yeah. And also, like, we don't have any room for personal space. So how is this man lonely?
Yeah.
Well, also just this idea that why would they cast Shahid Kapoor? Wouldn't it make sense of having somebody like Pankaj Tripathi do this role then? It doesn't make sense to have Shahid Kapoor do this.
But Pankaj Tripathi can't dance, Sala.
No. I don't know. I've not seen him, man. Put him like, take him out of the sweater vest and put him like in a tight fitting
Well,
suit, and maybe he's
he
got
did
some
dance in
moves in him.
what's that, Bareli Ki Barfi, right?
Yeah.
Abracadabra.
Yeah. I kind of weirdly, I'm excited for this movie. Like, I just think
the song. It's the song. Like that Lal Pili Akhiya song is just
It's a
all
banger.
over my playlist. It's just, yeah. And Shahid, it's such a joy to see him dance in this way. Like they should.
Yeah.
I think the teaser of the song released before the actual song, a day before, on T Series' Twitter line, and I was like hooked. Like,
Yeah.
you guys, damn it, Bhushan Kumar, you did it again.
But I think it's also that what I was hoping Tu Jhoti Mein Makar would do, and it didn't do for me. And I'm hoping maybe this movie might, So that's what I'm hoping for it, like just kind of like rom-com-y kind of fun. And I hope they don't lean in too much on the family stuff, which I fear that might be the one that annoys me. But I don't know. It's I do like Kriti Sanon. Like I've said this many, many times already. Shahid Kapoor, I don't know. Do you guys not feel that since Padmavat and Kabir Singh, he's just become very angry? Like he seems very angry lately. Like I don't know, even with his press interactions and the kind of roles he's taken on, he seems like a very angry person now.
No, I think there's like a whole bunch of people who feel that they haven't been given their due.
Yeah.
And are just like speaking from a place of entitlement and resentment. But the reason why they haven't received their due is because nobody cares about them. Like that's the sad truth, Like it's not like anyone's out to get them. It's just that the audience isn't checking for them. And if the audience is not if you're like Thanda at the box office, what's gonna happen? Nothing.
This is directed by Amit Joshi, and this is his first movie. He's written a lot of movies, like he wrote Bubbly Bouncer and Panga. You know that Panga movie?
I love that
got
Panga
some
movie.
good reviews, right? Yeah. And this is kind of his first movie. He's directing with Aradhna Shah, who seems to be his writing partner in a lot of these movies. So it's a first-time director. And it also has Dharmendra back after...
and Dimple.
Yeah. So some elements good, some elements bad. I don't know what to really feel about this.
But does it convince you enough to go to the cinema to watch this, or is it a streaming movie?
Yeah, for me, this is a streaming movie. I don't think unless there's like, unless there's like weeks that there's been no other movie that has come out and I really want to go to the cinema to watch it. And also, I think with these kind of movies, if the rating is acceptable, if it's like, when I go, I'll take maybe my daughter and my wife with me. And I didn't want to do that with Tu Jhoti Mein Makar. Like, I don't feel that even if the rating is fine, I think it has very horrible morals as a film, that movie. So I don't know if that will be the case with this one or not. Well, it's coming out soon, I think.
9th of Feb.
9th of Feb. So actually in a couple of weeks' time. So who knows? Maybe we might review it here. We did... Yeah, Amrita?
You know what I want to know? I want to know what Anvita Dutt is going to make next.
Oh, okay.
The one who directed Bulbul and Kala and all of that. Like, she doesn't seem to have anything like, lined up right now. But I've sort of gotten used to her having like one Netflix movie coming out in like January, February every year. And I am just very sad that we don't have one this year.
Okay. I'm not seeing anything on her filmography. She's been doing music lately, or what?
I think that's a different Anvita Dutt.
Oh.
No, it's the same.
Dutt. Wow.
Yeah. She just directs as Anvita Dutt, while she writes her lyrics as Anvita Dutt Guptan, I think.
Nice. Okay. Well, those movies are coming out. They're not out yet, but a lot of movies did come out, and we saw a few of them. So, Joy, you watched. What did you watch this week?
So I think for the last couple of weeks, I can see there's a lot of Tamil and Telugu releases that are releasing on our local Cineworld screen. So I caught Dhanush's latest movie called Captain Miller. It's epic action adventure film set in, I think it's the 1930s, against the British Raj. This revolutionary who gets recruited into the army, but again becomes rebels against the British Raj and the oppression that the British Indian Army bestows upon his village. And then obviously that becomes the whole climax part of it, where there is a standoff and fights and explosions and people killed. It's very, very heavy on action, very, very brutal, very violent. Dhanush is like firing on all cylinders. It's like, but it wasn't as impressive as I thought it should have been.
The trailer looked really good of that one.
Yeah, the trailer was cut so well,
Yeah.
but the movie isn't. Like, the background score of this movie, like, it needs to be studied because it's so brilliant, especially in the Dolby Atmos in cinemas. But this movie heavily relies on shaky cam, and just so annoying at times that, it's, and also like the set pieces does not have like a build up for me to get invested, like what's going to happen, the suspense and what's going to be revealed. It's it tries to set it up, but it just doesn't deliver enough for me. I think there's Shiva Rajkumar also in this movie, who plays his elder brother, I think, and there's like stories about I think the underlying story is that, that there is these revolutionaries who are fighting against the British to gain freedom, but also the story about, nothing in the country changes because for the lower caste, it's moving from one form of slavery to another, whilst you serve for the British Raj, and then before that you were serving the king of the land. And both of them, at least with the British, they allowed the lower caste people to go to the temple. That has been addressed here, and I think I've seen sort of that element or that sort of message in a lot of other Dhanishrish movies, and I appreciate that bit. But yeah, I don't know. It relies heavily on the imagery and the background score, but doesn't deliver on the impact. Like, I wasn't completely blown away, and it's a really long movie. Like, the length sort of started lagging, and I wasn't really impressed. I think it's part of a shared universe, or there will be sequels in this franchise. I think there are more stories to be told about Captain Miller, I guess. Which is funny because I searched Captain Miller in Wikipedia, and Captain Miller is a name of a Sri Lankan Tamil member of the LTTE in the 1980s. So I don't know why they chose that name. I don't think this is based. I don't know. I might be wrong, but is this based on a real person or not? And why did they choose Captain Miller? I don't know.
Maybe it's like Anvika, that when she's doing one thing, it's this spelling, and then there's that spelling. When he's a freedom fighter, he's this. When he's a rebel, he's that. Miller with 3 L's.
And 3 R's because it's RRR.
I was looking forward to this one, actually. I'm quite saddened to hear that.
Because also, for context, I've been watching a lot of Korean action movies, so my sort of benchmark for action is quite high. This felt like, content is content for me, and this just did not deliver on the action bit.
Right. Okay. What else? What else did you watch?
I also watched a superhero movie called Hanu Man. It's a Telugu movie made on a shoestring budget of 40 crores, and it's been doing the numbers. It's already made 250 crores, more than Fighter. I just wanted to point that out. It's directed by a guy called Prashant Verma, who's made smaller budget movies, and I think this is the first bit of his, again, like cinematic universe. Everybody's making cinematic universe movies, and we like 2023 was probably the year that the superhero fatigue in movies really kicked in for me. I have actively not watched Disney Plus, like the Marvel shows and the movies, and this has like a very strong pro-Hindu message in it, because obviously it's relying on Hindu mythology and presenting Hanuman's powers, and all of that imagery is there, but it's, again, like, not bigoted. There are no like Muslim villains in it. It's very much like good versus evil and the message of good, which is great. For 40 crores, what this movie has been able to achieve is like astounding. It almost reminds me of Minnal Murli, in a way, like a small village-based hero and his story, but also I think Minnal Murli is a better movie in the way the villain story is set up and how those two sort of intermingle, like in a Hancock.
That's a legit good movie, though.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hancock, right? The yin and the yang and all of that. But here, the villain story is just bonkers. It's just totally nonsensical, and that's why I think this movie rates a bit less than Minnal Murli for me.
How does it rate with Brahmastra, for example?
It's not as fantastical or ambitious. Yeah. Like, the visuals are not as ambitious as Brahmastra, because I think Brahmastra has a lot better visual effects, but Brahmastra is way more expensive than this. But I think this movie has like really fun elements in a way that it tries to show off when the hero discovers his powers and when he's trying to show it off to his girl. And like, it shows in the backdrop, like, these goons try to attack him. And I think I wrote about it that, these grannies in the village, they're trying to make mango pickle, and they are singing the recipe of making the mango pickle. And the lyrics are about the recipe of the mango pickle, and he's beating them up. And I think the lyrics, somebody pointed it out, have a double meaning, in that it could mean beating the pulp out of the villains, but also making the mango pickle, which was funny, and it was done very smartly. Some of the visuals are really, really good in this movie. I think you should check it out when it drops on streaming somehow. I
was surprised of the success of this. Like, it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's because I couldn't figure out from the trailer that there's a lot of these very religious mythological movies coming out, and it's not, they're not necessarily for me, but this one seems to really like hit a nerve and like be very, very successful.
It's it's very like seems of the Amar Chitra Katha era in a way, which is, I guess, our Marvel universe, where like our comic book universe of India, like when we grew up reading those, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I would be interested where this story goes next, because this ends with actually waking up Lord Hanuman, who has been meditating in his fortress of solitude for in probably some sort of an ice cave, and the next bit is like the demons have been awakened, so Lord Hanuman has to step in now. So I don't know where this story will go next.
But it is like a contemporary story, like Brahmastra.
Yeah.
Okay. Any interest, Amrita, in watching Hanuman?
If it comes on streaming, sure.
You also watch Killer Soup. You finished the whole series?
Yeah, in the background. Yeah, I started with rapt attention, like for the first 2 episodes, and then I just gave up. Man, this was.
Amrita, did you watch Killer Soup?
Not yet. No.
Okay. I watched 1 episode, and so I'm very interested what caught your attention.
No, I just wanted to give one more chance to Konkana Sen Sharma, because I really like her. and Manoj Bajpayee, to be honest, and two Manoj Bajpayees in this. I really wanted to give this a shot, but it was too late by the time I wanted to give it up, and I was like, let me just see where this goes. It has a lot of nudge, nudge, wink, wink jokes. Obviously, the Konkana Sen is character Swati. She is having this. Everybody's having an affair with everybody else in this movie, and a lot of people die. That's the long and short of it. But Konkana accidentally kills a lot of people in this show, and at one point she wears a burqa to meet one of the Manoj Bajpayees, right? And she's having an affair, and they have a code name for that character when she's in the burqa, and it's Manisha Koirala, because and the other Manoj Bajpayee sings Tu Hire to her, and there's Nasser, who actually played Manisha Koirala's father in Bombay, right? And he's the investigating officer, and he keeps searching for Manisha Koirala throughout this movie, throughout this show. So there are some haha, I know that reference kind of humor in this show, but I wanted to give some sort of a benefit of the doubt to Konkana Sen and Manoj Bajpayee, and obviously the maker of Urta Punjab, right? Abhishek Chobe.
And
Right.
Ishkia.
And Ishkia.
So, yeah.
But no, man, just a puss. It's a whole lot of puss.
Yeah, so that was one of my things that I was interested in. Abhishek Chobe, he hasn't made a movie since Son Chadiya. It's been like 5 years now, so which is really weird, like the kind of high he was on with Urta Punjab and all that. And this is kind of the first show, and I was like, the cast looks good. Manoj Bajpayee has done streaming already, and it's been pretty good. And while I was watching the first episode, I was like, man, I wish Konkana Sen was more on screen. Like, I really miss her. She's really so fun and so energetic, but she can, also be dark and like creepy and all that kind of thing. But the show was just weird, man. It was so weird. It just like totally lost me. I don't know what they were even trying to do. It's just like being weird for no reason.
Exactly. It's just weird for weird's sake. There's no payoff.
Yeah. Like, but Manoj Bajpayee has like a weird eye that's kind of sticking out, and like there's a twin, and like it's just weird for no good reason, and I just couldn't connect with anything. And I was like, even the central intrigue, like the thing with streaming is the episode should hook you to want to watch the next episode immediately, right? And after watching the first one, I was like, I have no reason to visit any of the world that these characters are inhabiting, So, and then I think you were already finished with it, and I think you said, it's nothing great. So I just kind of gave up at that moment. I was like, I don't think I have time for this. So yeah. I don't know, Amrita, does that make you want to watch it or not? Because you liked most of Abhishek Chobe's work, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I like Abhishek Chobe's work, and I like Konkana and Manoj Bajpayee, and I prefer Konkana as an actress versus a director. So I don't know. I might check out at least the first episode and see how I feel after that.
I'm keen to hear what you think about it, though. Like, I want to like if the weirdness works for you or not. For me, it was really off-putting, but it is an interesting experiment to make something that weird. That is also something to be applauded, right? Like having that commitment to do it and the actors wanting to do it. So it is cool, but it was not for me. So if it was for other people, I would love to hear from them. Something else that was on Netflix that I did finally watch was Salaar Part 1.
I'm really interested to know what.
Did you end up watching Salaar, Amrita? No.
Salaar Part 1, Ceasefire.
It is so this is the follow-up from Prashant Neel with after KGF, which was a massive success, a movie that I did not necessarily care for that much. And it is very much, you can see that it's the same filmmaker. Like there's no doubt about it, right? And this time he's with Prabhas, which again, Prabhas is one of those actors that a lot of people keep telling me he was an amazing guy, and I've not seen any of the work that would prove to me that he is amazing in any way. Do you guys watch South Park? Have you ever watched South Park?
No. Not
There's this character in there called Butter. And Butter had this thing where he makes a face and people are like, why are you making that face, Butter? And Butter is like, that's just my face. I'm not making a face. And everybody like, stop making that face. And I constantly thought of Prabhas, like, Prabhas, why are you making that face? And Prabhas is, this is just my face. And the guy just has no emotion whatsoever. I was like, what is going on? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you a badass? What's going on? And it's like, yeah, Prabhas doesn't seem to work for me as an actor. And this was a problem for me for Salaar. So Salaar is this grand. So it's the story of a country where it's so powerful that the Indian government cannot even have it on their map.
Yeah.
Like, it was so powerful that it told the Indian government that you have to erase us from the map, and we're going to be making all of these decisions, and India just has to listen to us. And the country itself is like an evil version of Wakanda, but it also really believes in the democratic process. Like, they're very much about the constitution, and the people have to vote, and there's like 70 parliaments, and there's like 20 ministers, and there's like 64 chapels, and all of them come together to vote for the constitution. And it is bonkers. Like, if I'm telling you this, it sounds insane because this movie is insane. And the whole movie, it's called Ceasefire because they want to have a ceasefire and people are voting against the ceasefire, and they're all like horrible, monstrous gangsters and things like that. And I was like, why do you care? Like, why should I care? Why do you care about the ceasefire? And there's like this political manipulation, and we get these votes and then we get that vote. And it's like, there's like bracelets for voting. And it's like so much effort in this world creation, and none of it makes any sense. And then obviously you need to find something that makes sense. Like, you need something to hang on to, be it a song or the visuals or the performances. And it has none of that. The whole story, the basis is of this friendship between Prithviraj and Prabhas, that he is his Salaar, his lieutenant that will go in and kill everybody. And he's so monstrous. He's such a monster that everybody does not want him involved, because once he will get involved, there will be so much carnage that it will be a tragedy on its own. I think that's the poetic message it wants to give to us. And the whole movie can be summarized about one character telling another character that the third character is a very big badass.
Yeah.
Then that character will come in, be a badass, or he will meet another character who is a bigger badass. And that is the movie Salaar.
So this movie is rightfully on brand, produced by Gold Mines, and there is that Instagram reel of somebody trying to do a Hindi dub of every single Gold Mine movie ever. तू जानता है वो कौन है, वो इधर आएगा तो फोड़ देगा, वो सबका क्या सेवक है, सबका मसीहा है, and all of that. It's just that for like 3 whole hours, man. It's just and like so much code, so many like protocols to follow. Nobody stops the vehicle. तू जानता है ये किसका गाड़ी है, ये किसका ट्रक है. It has that seal of the शेर. If you stop,
ceasefire है, vote किया है, bracelet है. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh man, this is just like Prashant Neel just took like multiple lines of coke and just wrote it in one night. It just feels like that, like fucking hell.
But I will say that Prabhas before Bahubali was pretty watchable. Like, there's a movie called Mirchi that you might want to watch. And it's like Prabhas is like very likable in that, and there's like Anushka Shetty in it, who is always delightful. And they like it's a fun action movie. Like, I actually really enjoyed it when I saw it. But that Prabhas and this Prabhas have almost nothing in common. Like, that seems like it's like the difference between, say, Salman in the early to mid 90s and like Salman in like now,
Yeah.
Except like what took Salman like 30 years to become, Prabhas has achieved in like 10 years. Like he's just reached a point where he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And like it just shows. Like he doesn't even bother to hide it.
I actually like IMDb, like how old is Prabhas? And I was shocked to hear he's the same age as me. And I was like, wait, like I'm not saying I'm better looking or anything than Prabhas. And I'm not making any of those claims, but I have life in me. Like, like abhi jeena baki hai, you know, that kind of thing. I don't feel the same way about Prabhas watching this movie.
Dude, this movie made on a budget of 270 crores, made 715 crores. So whilst we bicker about Prabhas's life, he's wiping his tears away with bundles of note, like that meme from Woody Harrelson.
I don't know. Like I feel like he needs to lay off the sauce or something, because like you know, like all those crores are probably going into his bar. I mean, I don't know, like, you know, what is up with him.
Also, I was like, why did Prithviraj take this role? Because, okay, I don't want to use like, you know, MRA kind of terminology of, you know, but he's such a cuck in this movie, right? Like, he is like such a beta male, like he does nothing. Like nothing. Like he's just like constantly like, you know, Prabhas karega, he's gonna fight my fights, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. I was like, it's such a like a weak person he's taking, but except in the final reveal where he suddenly starts kicking ass. Or like even when they're like, because one thing that I find hilarious is just really badass kids, you know, like, and I think like Telugu movies, this is Telugu, right? Is it they do a lot of that. Like, isn't it
Salaar
Kannada?
is Telugu or Kannada?
It's Telugu.
Telugu?
Yeah, and they do a lot of these, you know, where kids are real badasses. Like the guy, like a 13-year-old will come in and he'll just punch this guy and he'll like win the fight. And there's just something so hilarious about that idea about, you know, I'm a 13-year-old badass boy, you know. So their friendship starts as like 13-year-old boys, and then Prithviraj saves, and again they just throw in these things like he saves Prabhas's mom from a gang rape. And they just throw in this as like a flashback kind of thing. And it's like the violence is at such a pitch for no reason whatsoever. And
then there's like different tribes. There is a hierarchy in the tribes, and each tribe represents some sort of an animal. All this exposition is like bum 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 bum, and like main kya karu.
The movie works as like, you know, in the 1980s we used to have heavy metal albums, you know, that visual that works like you know, like a big bull with like things coming out and like a six-pack, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, what are we doing, you know? And I was never a heavy metal guy, so I don't even understand, you know, what we're trying to do here. But this movie did not work for me. I don't care if it made 700 million or 800 million. I just cannot connect with it. I would rather have had like the next KGF than this. I know the thing is also, I think the hero's name is Yash, right? Like he wants to be there. He wants to be in the KGF movies, right? He looks bloody badass in those ones, you know. I don't think Prabhas ever does. Like even his hair looks really weird and stuff like that. He just does not look like a happy person. So it's sad. It's sad. Salaar made me sad.
You're probably the only one who was made sad by Salaar.
I think that's it for movies we watched. I don't think we had anything. I did have one more message that I wanted to read from Instagram because I thought this was kind of an interesting one. Let me just pull it up here quickly. I love your podcast and listen to it weekly. There's this generational familiarity I feel with you all. Having said that, I do have a grievance. I do like a grievance. I like discussing grievances. I think this is pointed at you, Amrita, by the way. I would like to address, as an Aamir Khan fan, I agree with some of your criticism, but I do feel you all make yourself subject to implicit bias. Here is an example. Amir Khan Production released the trailer for Lapata Ladies, which seems like an amazing movie, and you haven't covered it at all. Amir Khan's genius isn't his style or looks. He is looking to make movies that are memorable. You have to give him credit for the kind of cinema he's trying to pursue. SRK and Salman are stars, but Amir isn't looking for that. He is looking to create a certain kind of cinema. He has always marched to his own drums, which is I always admired about him. Lastly, you all talk about the mystery of Amir Khan fans. His fan base is not a culty crowd. It's actually people who generally don't watch Bollywood movies, but make an exception when Amir Khan is in it. My dad is a prime example of that. My dad will watch Lapata Ladies over Pathan or Jawan. Same goes for my mom. And many others I know. Unfortunately, these people don't go to the theaters. I know it's nothing too serious. He said this later on. I didn't mean to be blunt. It was meant to be more of a fun discussion. And again, like Farzan, I really appreciate you writing in because I do want to discuss this a little bit.
Asim is also the number one Amir Khan fan on the podcast.
That's literally what I wrote, Farzan. I am the literal. But yeah, do you feel that Khandaan has a bit of a bias towards...
No, I think Farzan probably sent this in before our looking forward to 2024 episode dropped.
Yes.
Because Lapata Ladies is something that we are looking forward to. And I think I'm the only one that's actually looking forward to it. And the number one fan on the podcast actually isn't all that interested.
But he's not in it now, that's why. If he was in it, then I'd be... that's a number one fan.
No, I don't think I have any bias against Amir Khan's movies. I have my problems with Amir are about him individually. Like, I don't have any problem with his movies. But also, like what Farzan says, about the state of the Amir Khan fan. I mean, he sees the problem too. Like, if your fan base is people who don't like movies but will make an exception for you, then that is not a repeat audience. Like, that is not a ride or die audience, which means that they're also susceptible to being manipulated.
Where were all these people? Did they turn up for Lal Singh Chadda? They were the ones who just turned up on when the Netflix release dropped and were like, hey, this movie is actually good.
That's what. So these are people who, will read a review and they'll be like, it sounds like a good product, so maybe I'll go see it. And then they'll read the reviews and the reviews will be like, oh, this is not all that great. And then they won't watch it. And then they'll watch it at home and then they'll be like, oh no, we should have watched it. So like, this is very predictable. And that's why star power, especially in a country like India, comes above all else. Otherwise, there's no way that Salaar was going to make like 700 crores. Like, even the people who liked Salaar were like, yeah, it's a little piece of shit. So it's like, that's why star power drives this country.
But I think it's an interesting point because I think he has such massive hits, right, with Dangal and all that, like, PK. But I do think the landscape from lockdown changed and people have become much more streaming reliant, right? Like, and I think that's what happened in a way to Lal Singh Chadda too. I think it being a remake didn't help. And we have to not undersell that there was a whole campaign against Amir Khan movies coming from the government and those in power that, nobody else has as much as he does. And I love the meme somebody sent, like, I think Rajkumar Hirani was at the Ram Mandir and somebody made like, he's in the Ram Mandir and like Amir is still getting thrones pelted in him for, a PK. So it's just like a funny
that's what I mean by like, he doesn't have that buffer of stardom.
Yeah.
Like that whole hate brigade was also before the Pathan release, but because Shah Rukh is Shah Rukh, he overcame that. That whole dam just blew away into pieces, And for those who think that Khandaan does not actively discuss Amir Khan, it's because a lot of his movies are not out. Like, obviously, 2023 was the year of Shah Rukh Khan. But behind the scenes, when, say, Amir's was a daughter who got married, right? In our group chats, we were sharing all of those tweets and we were having our mini discussions there, which shall not be made public, but we were having Amir discussions behind the scenes.
Yeah. we just cannot unleash our meanness in public sometimes. No, I mean the wedding did look fun though. Like just speaking about gossip,
Yeah.
like it looked like a fun wedding, right?
It's like completely different from any other Bollywood wedding that we have seen. Like the whole pastel aesthetic wasn't there. It just Amir being a father, which is so something different to look forward to.
The thing is also, it's something that he has been struggling with publicly, right? Like how he had been as a father and what he, that he wasn't there and he missed out and stuff like that. And he wants to, in a way, make up for that. Maybe that is what he's trying to do or not trying to do. I don't know.
Well, I still don't see him making up to that kid that he has in America that he never talks about. Like, I guess that's not the kid that he wants to be a better father to, but okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still his number one fan. I even had positive things to say about Thugs of Hindustan, so I think the industry has shifted a little bit, and I don't think he's caught up with it. I do think there's a whole machinery against hating Amir, and I do think his brand of his way of approaching things is different than Salman and Shah Rukh's, right?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes works in his favor, and lately it's just not working in his favor. Speaking of Lapata ladies, though, we have seen Dhobi Ghat and we have seen Preply live. Those were not necessarily my favorite movies. I think it sometimes weighs too much into that kind of artsy crowd that it doesn't work for me. But Delhi Belly was amazing. Like I really like. Did he produce Jaane Tu Na Jaane Kya?
Jaane Na, yeah.
He did produce that, right? That's an amazing movie. That's what he should make. But yeah, we will be watching and covering Lapata Ladies, and whatever he does next, whenever he does announce it, I will be going to the theater. So I'm excited for whatever he does next. So thank you, Faizan, for writing it. That's what I wanted to say. I think that's it for this episode. Now I think we had a good run for this week. Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ.
Sujoy?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at 93K. And you can also follow Khandaan Podcast on all our socials at Khandaan Podcast.
Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Subscribe to our newsletter and become a Patreon from $1 and watch all of the cool content we drop there. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back with a new episode next week.
Khandaan Podcast on the acting. Girl, you're my chum,